Hello everyone, this is Thor Young with Bearable Traders, and I'm actually doing a live recap today. I'm doing this while I'm in the chat live, so I can take some questions from the house here, and talk to our guys as they have questions. Maybe they'll have questions you guys find interesting. First, before I get started, I want to go ahead and give a shout out to Carlos and Norm on the pre-market show. Those guys are crushing it. I really appreciate all the help that they're giving. The levels that I pulled, and some of the ones that they have, I mean, they're just magic at times. And I know we say that a lot, seems kind of cheesy, but we really they really work well for us. So what I want to talk about, and make sure if you guys, want to get in on them with them, make sure, you like my video. Obviously, that's awesome. But feel free to subscribe, ring the bell so you can go live with these guys, because that's where we're getting the knowledge. We're getting all the research. I sit down with my, after driving my kids to school, and actually get this knowledge from them, what stocks to watch, where the levels are, all of that within a few minutes before the open, so that I can make good decisions and make money on a daily basis. So couldn't do it without these guys. So yeah, you're welcome, Carlos. So Carlos chatted in there for you, bet, man. So INTC. So I've been kind of refining what I call my pre-market breakout strategy that I've been using. I've seen some of the lower float gurus use something similar in some of their takeouts, and I've seen the strategy applied in different ways. I'm just kind of refining the way that I like to take it. I only traded this one ticker, INTC, today, but got a really great trade on it with 500-600 shares, and it really worked out really well for me. So I want to walk you guys through that process and just kind of give you guys what I'm looking at. Now, as far as daily levels go, there really weren't a lot because the daily goes all the way back for this level to like 2000 or something like that was where I went back to find any daily levels. And I did actually mark some, and they were weekly levels in order for me to get to it. And one of the only ones that I found kind of important was actually this 6684 kind of fell right around in the middle of some of those weekly pivots. So, and I found that interesting that this was kind of trading in that range. Other than that, though, I really wasn't worried about the daily levels. I was just worried about the immediate pre-market levels. So basically, when I start my pre-market plan, I start here on this screen, and then I kind of move in reverse order through the time frames as I'm marking. So, I get my daily levels, and I come down to this one, and I've got it linked so they all draw. Every chart I click on draws on my other charts. And I come down here and I find my high of pre-market, so I want to find my highest resistance, my lowest support, and then I kind of go through and I start pecking them out in between there until eventually through the 5 minute and then through the 1 minute, I get it dialed in to where I'm basically like right here. So it kind of looks like lines on a staff of music, right? So, and I actually used to play a little bit of music, so maybe that's why I like it. But let me get in a little bit closer. Now, this volume looks like there was no volume, but keep in mind, the volume compared to the market being open, totally different. It looked like there was plenty of volume. INTC looked like it was trading open at the time, but the comparative volume is so much different. It just looks like there was no volume here, but there really was volume pre-market. It wouldn't have been in our list very well if it didn't have much volume. So, but you can see INTC, one thing that it was continuing to do throughout the pre-market, and this is kind of how my strategy works, is right before the open, I get my resistance and my support from pre-market, and then I trade those. And as you can see here, INTC pushed up against this resistance a couple times, bounced off the support, and then started pushing back up into the resistances. It started moving back up. It was strong. On top of that, level 2, right? Over on the level 2, there were tons of sellers, all sitting up above 67.40, all the way up to 68, all the way up to 68.50. I mean, there were just sellers just stacked. All over the place. The buyers were already coming in, tons of green on the time and sales. There was a lot going for this thing. So with the super strong catalyst, I thought we were good to go. So what I waited for, and let me get real close so you guys can see, what I waited for was I wanted to see how it was going to interact with these levels. If it pulls off and it loses 66.42, then I'm thinking it's weaker. And if it breaks above 66.65, I'm thinking it's stronger, because we're breaking a resistance to go up and we're losing a key support to go down. Once it opened, it fell towards 66.42. no love, right? It didn't even touch it, much less test it or try to do anything. It barely even broke this low of this candle here, and then just started ripping up on massive volume. So as soon as it broke 66.65, I was in long, bam, right over the top of VWAP, basically, right? Partial, good to go. It settled in here, partial, all the way up. Easy, right? Peasy, moving it. So now the fun thing about it was this stock was a mover. So, held in for a little bit, and this thing went for a move for me, and I got really good partial all the way up to 68.50, and I was holding for 69 for the rest. My final partial was going to be at 69, and INTC took a little bit of time to consolidate, did a little head and shoulders, and then came down here and bounced VWAP. I liked how it bounced VWAP, so I added into my position at VWAP, took a little off here at this resistance, which had also acted as a support. And then after that, I said, I'm holding the rest for 69. And sure enough, we bounced up, we got our stuff together, and I held on all the way up to 69. Done deal, all out, done for the day. So INTC, probably one of the cleaner trades that I've taken. Got into it all off of this, but there's a lot of strategies you could have put into play here if you're really looking at this. It gave a great opportunity. Notice how these levels work, right? If this was a little too aggressive for you, all right, look, right here, it did a VWAP pullback right above this level here, pre-market level, tested the pre-market level, held it, made a new high, long there, right? Tons of opportunities to get into this trade. You do it my way, which is a little aggressive, maybe a lot aggressive. You do it a little bit less aggressive, which I think maybe Andrew got in on this one. I think this is where Andrew might have gotten long on it, on this VWAP pullback. It came back, touched this, but again, what are you testing? You're testing this resistance, right? This isn't about VWAP. This test isn't even about VWAP. We're using VWAP, but this test wasn't about VWAP. It was about this resistance. It came back and it tested the resistance. It turned into support, made a new high. You could have went long there. Bam. All right, and then look at this. Right up into this little range we had marked here. Look at that. Consolidated there for just a minute. Got its stuff together. Broke out. New chance for a long there. Bam. ABCD style. Right? There are just tons and tons of opportunities on this stock to have gotten a decent entry. So, and that's my whole thing. So I'm going to look over, check out some questions. One of them was, why did you add it VWAP? So I do what I like to call a kind of a free roll, is how I've known it to be called. And it's what I like to do, which is basically if I get myself into a good position, which I was planning on going all out at 67.60 because that was going to be a P&L move, to be honest. So if I got out there, I was going to be still over my daily goal. If I dropped below that, I actually would go back inside of my daily goal. So I was out there no matter what happened. And I still would have made still a good amount of money. But when it held VWAP, it broke VWAP. And remember, again, VWAP happens to be here, but this wasn't about VWAP. This was about $67.84. Come back out here, right? Let's zoom on out. What do we got right here, right? 67.84. We've got this. It was a daily level. I think I picked off of another chart. It sits inside of this range here, right? It's a level. So it pulled back here. VWAP does happen to be here, but what I liked is that it held 67.84. So when it held 67.84 and got back above it and VWAP, that's why I added in. I actually got a little pop that I took some off, and I said I'm holding the rest for 69, and it never lost. And I would have went completely out if it lost 67.78. If it broke a new low, done. If it breaks that low, it's going all the way down. No point to be in it anyway. And like I said, one of the things before that you really got to think about is making sure to think about where do you need to get out when you're adding in or getting into a position. It isn't always thinking about the profit. How far can it go? Think about how far can it go against you before you want to get out, right? I added in here because my original stop, I wanted to leave at 67.60, 40, somewhere in there. Well, now that it's back here and it's back in, I say, hey, if it loses 67.77 now, I don't want to be in it anymore. So why not just go ahead and add in here? I can raise my stop out, float a couple of shares without any extra risk, and just see what happens. I got a small partial, and then bam, we rolled it all the way up to $69, all out at 69. Good to go. So, did you risk half risk or full risk? This was a full risk trade, Jerome, and actually a little bit over full risk. This was about $100 to $150 risk on this one. I felt really, really good about this INTC trade today. was really feeling it. So I went in pretty heavy, but I felt really, really good about how this was going to move. And sure did. It was real nice. So, let's see what else we got, guys. So I'll kind of leave my recap it there. If you guys have any questions, I'll take like maybe just 1 minute, 2 minutes. We don't want this to go too long because then no one's going to want to watch because it'll take too long. But if you guys have anything specific that you guys would like me to go over, feel free to go for it. What are your partials set at? So, John B, I normally partial 10% at a time as I climb. I used to do the 50% partial where you just do 50, 50, 50, but I partial aggressively, we'll call it. I partial aggressively. So I changed it, and you can actually see one of my few hot buttons that I actually have is sell 10%. So, I have a move stop to break even that I use a lot, and then I have sell and cover 10%. That are my primary hotkeys I use. So I can just go up and just, sell, click, 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 and just go right up. So, and then what I'll normally do by practice is I'll sell like 10%, 10%, 10%. And when I get like near a key level, someplace that I really think this could be, it could turn around here, or it's a good goal, or it hits a certain P&L mark, then I'll go ahead and, maybe I'll drop a larger order there. Commissions, raggy, negligible. I really don't focus too much on commissions. I just focus on good trades. I am with IB and I am on the tiered platform, which helps out a lot. And scaling out really doesn't hurt too much at all. I think my total commissions, full disclosure, total trade, I'm up $500 on it. I think my total commissions will be probably somewhere around $15, maybe $10 or something like that. It'll be very low, very low. So nothing really to worry about there. IB is a fantastic broker in that regard as far as commissions go. Commissions is a long breakdown at Raggy, and I'll get off my recap here in a minute. We can kind of talk more specifically on broker commissions and all that stuff. It gets pretty in depth, but yeah, you have basically your buy, and then as you're scaling out, you don't get charged like per ticket on the scale out. There's a little bit of there's a tiered differential. If you have it, there's fixed and then there's tiered. You want to make sure you're on tiered. Yeah, John B, for me, it's just about your confidence level and your style of trading. I used to do 50 and 50, but as I started to gain confidence and started realizing I was getting into better and better moves, I decided that I didn't want to just get out so fast, because basically I would find myself exhausted on shares by the time I get up to a key level. I realize, man, this thing is just super strong. And because I do, aggressively partial, I would find myself just out of shares. So I would either have to wait for a big pullback so I could do an ad, or I would just go all out and just call it a day, because there was just, there wasn't, you hold 50 shares on a stock like this, if you're going to get another $2 out of it, that might be worth it. But if you're only going to think, hey man, I'm just going to go for 20 more cents at that point, it might not be worth the risk to continue to hold the position. You might as well just go all out and, play golf or get on a boat, do whatever you do, for fun. So you are very welcome. Awesome, everybody. Well, it was great talking with you guys. I'm going to post this video up on the Bear Bull YouTube. So if you guys have any additional questions or thoughts, comments or whatever, feel free to swing by and drop them right there. We have a weekend, so I can still answer stuff. I hope everybody had an amazing day today. I hope you had a great week with Bear Bull Traders. We're certainly blessed to have all of you with us. And we look forward to another great week next week. Earnings season, all fun, right? So keep it green, everybody, and have a great one. Thanks.